Okay guys, let's talk about a couple ways we can control our opponent in the fight. In this instance, he's throwing a straight right, working my inside defense, getting into my control. I'm using what we call a push-pull technique, where I'm taking the blade or the palm heel of my hand, and I'm pushing it into the base of the skull and his neck, driving his body weight that way. I'm taking the C-clamp that I have here against this natural handle in the skeleton, I'm pulling that to me as I push away, creating tension, keeping his head at whatever level I need to for strikes, setting up my knees, and finishing the fight. Any questions? Hey guys, Jarred Waldman with Krav Maga United. So today I'm going to take you through the entire yellow belt curriculum. All right guys, wrist releases. We have a soft technique version for when we're dealing with somebody maybe at a bar situation, a little bit drunk. We're not trying to escalate the situation, we're trying to de-escalate. That's where we'd employ a soft technique, or a hard technique where someone grabs us and we realize our life's in danger and we got to act accordingly. So let's talk about the soft technique. Wrist releases, grabbing the wrists. One hand on one hand, two hands on one hand, lots of different variations, real simple principles. So if you were to grab me, same side, so we call this same side grab. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm expanding my wrist by opening up my hands. Think about his wrist as like a lock, my hand is the key. I'm gonna rotate the thumb side to where his thumb and pointer finger meet, or even if they wrap around. I rotate to the opening, so I'm basically opening the lock. I take my elbow towards his elbow, everything else stays in place, and then I create space, and now I'm in a de-escalating position. My hands are facing forward like a stop position, but I'm in my stance in case he decides to escalate. So once again, same side, rotate, open that lock. Thumb is on the same side as thumb and pointer finger, elbow to elbow. I create leverage, I create space. That's wrist control, same side. Opposite side, same principle. His hand is the lock, my hand is the key. I open my hand to expand it, that expands my wrist a little bit. I'm gonna rotate that thumb in the lock. Now I'm gonna take that elbow towards his elbow, and now I'm out. Again, so rotate the key, elbow to elbow, create space. One more time. Rotate the key, elbow towards his elbow, and I'm out. Okay. Two hands high. All I'm gonna do is the same idea. This time I'm rotating the pinkies, because that's the closest to his opening. I'm gonna tuck my chin as I step back, making a circular motion. Again, two hands high. I tuck my chin in case of a headbutt. I step back as I chop down and rotate out, again to create space, which gives me time to see and react. Two hands low, opposite motion. Again, hands open up. I'm bringing the thumbs up the middle, but I'm gonna curl my fingers just in case I poke myself in the eyes. I'm gonna bring my hands towards my chest, and I step back and I circle to the outside. Again, I curl my fingers so that I don't bring the fingers up towards my eyes. Intentionally trying to bring the hands to my chest, but just in case, added measure. I rotate in and then circle out. Two hands on one. If there's no weight pressing down, I make a fist with that hand. I reach in, grab that fist. I bring the fist just above the two wrists, and I rotate elbow to elbow, just like the basic same side, and I'm out. Two hands, make a fist so that I can catch on. Lift that fist up just above the wrist, rotate towards the elbow, create space. Okay? Two hands when the weight is down. For whatever reason, maybe he's forcing me down, or I have too much weight on top of me. Obviously, I'm not gonna go strength against strength. So there's my hooks. I pluck, just like I do against chokes, using the palm heel of my hand. I pluck the support hand. Now this becomes the same thing as before. Elbow to elbow, hand opens, rotate the key in the lock, elbow to elbow, and I create distance. Now, no matter what position you are on the ground, if you happen to be in your fight stance or you happen to just hit the floor, you want to make sure you get up with the right amount of timing so that your opponent's not straight on top of you. So if you have enough distance to get up, the key to have is one hand up in front of your face, tucking your chin to protect yourself. The other hand's gonna go back slightly away from the hip, giving your body room to send it back. I'm gonna use this foot to sweep underneath and push off with this foot here. Get up into my fight stance to create space and go to war if I need to. Now, it's hard for beginning students to be able to do one hand, support, lift their body, send the legs through. It's definitely a dynamic motion. So in the beginning, what I recommend is you have your students start out in this position, take your hands over to one side, have them get all their weight onto their hands, straighten out the arms, and just practice jumping their feet from one side or outside the hands to the other, okay? That's pretty much easy for most people to do. Once they can do that, then they can jump back behind their hands, get up into their fight stance. And if two hands are easier for you in the fight, maybe you've been punched a couple times and you're a little groggy, it may be really difficult to have one hand only. You may need to use that second hand. So either option is okay. Any questions? Okay, let's break this down. Gonna attack from behind. First thing I'm gonna do is look and see what's in this hand here before I go. Redirect the line of fire. Attack, control, boom. Boom, break, take, tap, rack, and then I'm out. One more time. Again, look first. Redirect the line of fire. Now I'm going in for control and attacks. Boom, break, take, attack, tap, rack, and then I'm out. Any questions? Okay guys, knees. First of all, let's talk about different targets that we can attack. Groin, obviously, perfect target. Solar plexus midsection, if the head's low, striking the face with the knee. Now the key is, just like a fist, just like an elbow, to keep a strong knee, I want to bring my heel as close to my behind as possible, making this knee a solid surface to strike with. First knee we do is without a grab. At a short range, I can send a knee, even as he's punching me, I can attack him with my knee, close range weapon, without even connecting or grabbing. Again, heel close to my butt. I'm driving off the floor. I get power again with my hips driving forward. Shoulders go slightly back to allow my hips to drive. My base leg, I want to try to get up on the ball of my foot, straighten out this leg so that my hips can extend the farthest they could possibly extend. So I want to drive with my hip all the way through, penetrating with my hip, slightly leaning back with my shoulders. Hands could be up, or I can use an opposite hand as a counterweight, whichever works best for you. Ideally, we want our hands up so we can transition to control. Good, so now one of the reasons why we want to keep our hands up when we're giving our knees is so that we can transition to different ways of controlling our opponent or keeping our opponent off of us. So we call this our cross-body control. My top hand is digging in to meet muscle skin, and I'm grabbing as much of that as I possibly can. Notice my wrist is straight. My entire hand, wrist, and arm are in the frontal plane. We're allowing him or keeping him away from me. This is my A-frame. I want to keep my elbow down on his chest. Same idea, I'm driving, grabbing as much muscle, meat, skin as I can, clothing, material, holding on strong. I get my base a little lower and I set my knee up for attacking. I'm driving right now, I'm just gonna pull him into my knee, so I'm combining the forces of pulling him in as I strike. Right now I'm going for the groin. I can do the same thing against the solar plexus midsection. I can do the same thing controlling the hair and the head, going to the face as well. So this is our cross-body control, it's our A-frame. Again, we want to make sure that we're not climbing over the back. This gooseneck is weak. I don't want to be going over the back. Plus it gives them the ability to get underneath my barrier and take me down. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping them in control. Grabbing meat, muscle, and skin, elbow down. I can go against the neck to drive. I can even extend if I want to with the palm heel of my hand, keeping constant tension, constant control of my opponent. That's one way to control. Another way is a double necktie or a Muay Thai clinch. I'm basically cutting off the blood supply here, high on his forehead, or top of his head, excuse me. One hand on top of the other, elbows in, pinching off that blood supply. I'm gonna bring his head to either side depending on which knee I'm striking with. From here, I'm striking with this knee. I can also control him, switch to my other knee. Again, elbows are pinched in nice and tight, cutting off that blood supply. I'm keeping his chin tucked so that he can't lift his head up. I have more control over him that way. All right, guys, so let's break this down. Dangerous spread, a choke from behind with a wire. Just like regular choke from behind, I pluck, but I need to drive my head deep in, take the leverage away from him. Controlling, attacking, finishing the fight and getting out. One more time. Again, he's choking me from behind. I need to go deep with my hands, plucking, tucking my chin, driving, taking the leverage away, attacking, and getting out. Any questions? Give me your money! Boom, boom, boom. All right, guys, let's break this down. Long gun from the front, now we're going to the dead side, redirect. Short distance off the body. 2 hands for control. After I make that punch, here's my second hand. Striking with a weapon, break, take, tap back, and I'm out. One more time. Again, going to the dead side, redirect, short distance up my body. Boom, dealing with the gunman, 2 hands for control. Striking, break, take, and I'm out. Any questions? Give me your money! Alright guys, let's break this down. Defense versus long gun, we treat this like any handgun. We redirect a line of fire straight off our body. Now I want to get it for control. 2 hands are better than 1. Driving with my weight in, striking with the weapon. Break, take, tap and rack, and I'm out. One more time. So again, redirect off the body, shortest distance. Coming in with 2 hands for control, getting my weight on the weapon and the gunman, striking, break, take, tap, rack, and then I'm out. Any questions? I start out with my feet shoulder width apart. I take 1 natural step forward with my left leg, because I'm a right-hander. Naturally, my back heel will come off the deck. I want that heel up for mobility. So from this position, I'm square to my opponent. Hands up to the sky, I let my elbows drop into my rib cage, tuck my chin, and my fingertips are open. Ideally, my hand should be about 8 to 10 inches away from my face. Now, we're gonna transition to what we call our inside defense position. This should be our fight stance that we train from. From this position here, I can deal with any straight punches coming my way, any outside attacks. I can throw my own attacks from this position. I'm ready for anything that comes. Again, I'm square to my opponent. This is exactly how I would move. Moving forward, I stop into my fight stance, square my shoulders up, both my hands are equidistant to my opponent. All right guys, now from our fight stance, we're gonna talk about how we're gonna move in different directions. Basic movement, I'm gonna move forward, step with my forward leg, push off my back leg, I open my stance, I close my stance. So whatever distance I open, I close the same thing, so I'm always balanced, equal with my weight, 50-50. If I go to one side, I open with the foot, I close with the foot. So again, equidistant apart, my feet maintain shoulder width. I go to the right, same thing, open, close. I go to the rear, same thing, again, open, close. Whatever direction I go, I lead with that leg first, push off the opposite leg, open and close. Now, working on angle. So from here, I can make a step pivot motion. I step first to get to the outside of my partner's or my opponent's leg, and then I rotate. That's one direction. Same thing with the opposite. I can rotate here. I step and then I pivot with the forward leg. Again, going back to that same fight position. Step, pivot, now I'm back to the regular spot. All right guys, so when we're shadow boxing, not only are we getting our body warmed up, but we're connecting our strikes together. So I can start with my punches, add elbows, knees, kicks to the groin. I can incorporate the movement that we worked on, moving around, getting my balance, connecting all the exercises. I can also work from a passive position where I'm working on my self-defense, connecting my self-defense with my attacks. In this situation, I'm working on basic yellow belt chokes, front, side, and back. So I can incorporate shadow boxing not only from my fight stance, but also from a passive position working on my self-defense. pressing back and down, creating separation. From here, immediately attacking the throat with the elbow. So once I take that weapon away, my immediate is to strike, but to get space between me and him, so it allows me options. I can use my car as a way to kind of dodge some of the punches. Power from the floor, my hips and shoulders. Together, I'm using speed, boom, making that exercise. Bring my elbow in nice and tight. That's gonna lock off this side.
Go! Woo! Nice job, Jarred! 30 seconds, Jarred. Control the breathing. Control it.
So we're going to talk about two different things. One, if carnation pushes me up against the wall, boom, I want to deal with my head being whipped back and smack it up against the concrete. So I tuck my chin and I make a fall break. Second danger, he's choking me, I'm losing my air, but now he's going to take my head up against the wall, boom. So I got to do the same thing. Tuck my chin, prevent my head from getting whipped back up against the wall. Now he's driving with all his weight. Another danger is the pressure on my trachea. I can't come off the wall because I'll put more pressure and choke myself out. So what I want to do is become the wall. I take my shoulders, which are parallel, and I make them perpendicular. One hand down, one hand up. I'm still on the wall. I rotate, boom, boom, finish the fight, and take his head up against the wall and get away safely. Any questions? Okay, today we're going to discuss basic footwork in Krav Maga. The first footwork we're going to work on is going forward, back, left, and right. So to go forward, he's going to push off the back foot, open and close, and he's maintaining at least shoulder width apart, if not wider. And as he goes back, he pushes off with the forward foot, open and closes to the back. Good. Now going to the right, open and close, and now to the left. Basic footwork. Now, if we want to get an angle on our opponent, we have a step pivot option, which is either step pivoting with the left, then the right. Again, one more time. And then or step through with the right, pivoting with the left. One more time. The whole time we're maintaining our fight stance, hands are high, elbows are protecting our ribs, and our weight's about 50-50 on the balls of our feet. Any questions? I'm gonna kill you! Alright guys, let's break this down. Execution from the head, from this position. Redirect with one hand, but I'm going to need that second hand on for control in case he pulls the weapon away. It helps me up, striking. Break, take, tap, rack, and I'm out. So again, one more time. One hand redirects the line of fire. Boom. Second hand comes on 90 degrees to the weapon. Helps me up, striking. Break, take, tap, rack, and then I'm out. Any questions? Alright guys, so we're going to talk about two ways to deliver a lead leg front kick to the groin in Krav Maga. The first way is more of a jackhammer effect that you saw just earlier. He's going to slightly load up his forward leg and then shift to neutral. While he does it, that's when the kick gets sent and he shifts his weight right back so you can get that kick going very fast and explosive. Again. Good, very nice. The second way to deliver a kick is where we shift our weight from neutral, about 50-50. He rocks back onto his heel, creating a stable platform, and from that platform he delivers kicks. Watch as he demonstrates. Good, very nice. Great use for this type of kick would be if he's on his heels in a fight situation, he's still able to deliver a kick to the groin, hoping to finish the fight. Any questions? What we call a push-pull technique. As he throws the punch, boom, I move in, straight in. All right, guys, let's talk today about throwing elbows. So the key to making a strong elbow is having this hand tucked nice and tight into my armpit area, this nice straight angle here, keeping this part nice and solid. So when I'm striking with the last inch of bone. I want to make sure my pinky's lined up with the strike. And once again, since we're in a close quarters battle, my chin is tucked, my hands are nice and high, and when I deliver my strikes, I'm rotating my hips and shoulders, swinging my elbow almost like I'm swinging a baseball bat. Any questions? All right, guys, choke from the rear. So first thing we're gonna do is tuck our chin. This is gonna accomplish three things. One, it's gonna give me a little room to breathe by pinching these fingers here. It's gonna expose the thumbs, which is my intended target for my pluck. Also, by looking down at the ground, I know where his feet are, because that's gonna be very important when it comes to my counterattacks. So from here, I tuck my chin, setting those hooks back. Again, 90 degrees is the principle against the thumbs. Strongest part of my hook. I'm using my elbows, plucking fast down here. At the same time, I'm gonna laterally move to one side or the other, diagonally back, looking for those feet, groin area, open palm, midsection, face, turning out, using other attacks, and finishing the fight. All right, guys, let's break this down. Knife attack is a slash. It's shallow, so I gotta get out first. Burst back in, attack, attack. Two hands on the weapon, boom. Dealing with the attacker, one more time. Get out of the way from the shallow attack, burst back in, attack, attack. Two hands, cavalier, take the weapon, deal with the attacker. Any questions? Okay, guys, we're going to talk about ground fighting again. This time we're going to talk about the top position, which we call a mount position, and also the bottom position, and why we want to, be in those positions, what the advantages and disadvantages are. So we're not advocating. If I were to fight, he's for my opponent, I knock him to the ground, and he falls back. I'm not going to get on top of him in a mount position to finish the fight, because on the street he could have a friend who's going to come by and soccer kick my head and lights out. So what I want to do is make sure that if I knock him to the ground, if I feel like the fight is over and I can get away safely, I'm going to do that. If I feel like there's still a threat, maybe I see a weapon or a gun on his belt, I'm going to step around the head and I'm going to choose to attack vulnerable targets depending on the level of threat that's presented to me. Okay, so that's basic philosophy in Krav Maga. We're not going to the ground unless we have no choice, and then our goal is to immediately come back up. But as students, we need to learn how to properly mount an opponent so that we can stay on top. We start working punches from this position. We start working elbows from this position, mainly so that the person on the bottom knows how to defend against that and get out from underneath us. Okay? Notice Clint doing the right thing. He's keeping his heels close to his butt. That way he has the ability to lift his hip up, the butt be off. So we want to lift his hip up. That's going to displace me, and that'll help him obviously reverse the position. Hips back down. Notice he's keeping his elbows in tight. What he doesn't want me to do is get up high on his chest, because from here I can start punching and his hips really have no effect on my body. As he raises his hips up, he does nothing to displace my balance. So he wants to keep me over his hips. He's going to make sure that his elbows push me down. He's going to get to this position. Chin is tucked, hands in front of his face are open. Obviously if I punch him, he does want his head to go back a little bit. If his head's already on the ground and I punch him, he has nowhere to go to dissipate that shock and energy. It's going to be easier for me to knock him out. So ideally, the person on the ground keeps it tight, elbows into the rib cage, centers me over his hip, heels close to his butt so he can use his hips to launch me. That's the bottom position. As someone on the top, on the mount, I want to keep the balls of my feet kind of curled, because if I find myself in this position punching, eventually I want to get up. And it's much quicker for me to get up with my balls of my feet in this position versus being like so. Okay, especially if I'm on the street, if I've got shoes on, it's going to be much more comfortable, and it's going to allow me to get up quicker to dismount if I find myself in that position. Long-range weapons in Krav Maga are kicks. Krav Maga front kick to the groin. Striking ideally with the lowest part of my shin, right around that instep area. So just between the shoelaces and my shin is where I'm making contact. That way I have maximum range and I'm striking with a very powerful, strong surface, which is my shin, like a baseball bat. Kicking to the groin, I'm coming from low to high, so in a street situation, it's very hard for the eyes to pick up on that. Most people are expecting the hands, so groin kicks are amazing. Also, I can be able to strike him from a distance, especially when a guy much larger than I am. It allows me to cover that distance without getting in his punching range, okay? Striking the groin, vulnerable targets in Krav Maga. Beautiful thing about the groin is I got these legs, it's like a highway to heaven. It takes my energy, funnels it up into the sensitive areas. So even if I'm off angle and I kick and I hit the side, as long as I continue raising my knee and my leg up, it's gonna strike gold. It's gonna hit the target, even if I'm off angle. That's why we wanna make sure that we let that leg rise up as high as we can. So we always tell our students, even though we're striking for the groin, we're aiming all the way up through the tonsils. That way our power is felt and we penetrate the target. If I'm in a fight stance, obviously I can use either leg. My forward leg, my lead leg is closer in the fight. It's much quicker. Obviously my back leg is typically my stronger leg, comes from a little bit further away, so it gives me a chance to develop a little more speed and power. The beautiful thing about this kick is I don't need to be in a fight stance. And in Krav Maga, maybe I'm trying to de-escalate the situation, and I can just send a quick kick to the groin. Even if it doesn't knock them out, it gets their attention, and I finish the rest of the fight with my other combatants. The hip obviously is going to give me not only power, but it's going to give me maximum range. It's getting my body weight behind it when I rotate that hip. Also, I want to include my shoulder. So ideally, whatever leg I'm kicking with, in this case it's my right, my knee dictates the height of the target. So again, we want that power to travel through, so my knee has to go past the target, which is the groin in this case. My knee goes, my hip follows, and my shoulder follows in one line. Notice my hands don't drop. It's effortless when I rotate my entire body. Now beware, once I rotate my body, my leg has the ability to go anywhere. I gotta control that energy straight up the middle, so that way my power is there and I'm nice and balanced. I definitely don't want to kick off on a different angle. Same thing when I'm striking with the forward leg. If I'm in a fight stance, again, my knee past the target, my hip follows the knee, shoulder follows in line, boom. I'm driving off that base foot, boom. Hip is powerful, hips give me distance, and the rest of my body follows. All right, guys, so last things I want to mention about the kick to the groin. Number one, I point my toes when I'm making this kick. That, again, exposes the lower part of my shin, gives me that distance. Also, I send my kick up, and I want to bring it back down as quickly as I can. In Krav Maga, we typically emphasize striking low, vulnerable targets, groin, knees, mainly because, one, it could stop someone in a fight from pursuing us, but two, we definitely don't want to be on one leg for too long, because obviously we're not as strong as we can be. We want our base underneath us at all times. So I want to kick quickly, boom, recoil just as fast, so I'm ready to run. Okay guys, so straight punches, combinations, lefts, rights, palm strikes, all in the same family. When I'm punching, number one, make a fist, curl them down once, twice, thumbs on the side. Always gonna strike with these top two knuckles. Those are the strongest, the biggest, they're lined up with my wrist. In the beginning, we want our students hitting with the top two knuckles up, thumb side up, pinky side down. Number one, that's gonna allow our elbow to stay down. In a fight without gloves or protection, if I start to rotate, elbow pops up, exposes my ribs, then I have the tendency to hit with the pinky. Smaller knuckles where I can get that boxer's break or fracture. So pinky stays down, pointing with those two knuckles, chin is dropped, leading with my shoulder, pivoting off the hip, back leg, driving with my punches. Same thing with the jab. Notice I'm always driving off that back foot. That allows my hips and shoulders to rotate, whether I'm throwing a cross or I'm throwing a jab. Now, palm strikes. Curling the fingers back, making contact with the palm heel of my hand. Ideally, at the last second, I'm gonna rotate fingers in. What that does is allow my palm heel to reach that nose. So if Gabe's dropping his chin in the fight, I can hit him on the top of the head, but I can also, if I rotate now, I can make contact with the nose or those vulnerable areas of the face. So palm strikes, I try to keep my elbow down as long as I can. Last second, thrusting that palm forward, boom, to get that power and that strike. And again, I'm driving with my legs. Always forward motion, taking the fight to them. All right, guys, Krav Maga, 360 degrees defense. Basically, we're creating a circle of defense around our body with our hands. First position is number 1, fingertips to elbows, right at the crown of my head, my chin is tucked. Fingertips together like the roof of the house. Number 3, just like goalposts, out in front. Notice, arms are in front, not behind me. Arms are in front. Number 4, elbows come into the side. Number 5, I start to rotate out like jetpack, slight bend at the waist. Number 6, even more bending at the waist. And number 7, just like number 1. All these lower ones, I'm bending as much of my waist as I can. My legs are relatively straight with a slight bend to take the pressure off my back. With one hand, we have the 1 position, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 again. Creating a 360-degree defense around our body. All right, guys, so 360 degree with our partner. Basic idea, I'm standing passive, feet are shoulder width apart. This way I can work the entire circle. It's easier for me to shift my weight in the beginning stages. From here, I want to make sure my eyes are center mass so I can use my peripheral vision. I can see everything around him. Ice and easy is going to go wide with the attack, nice and slow. I'm going to meet that attack 90 degrees. This is the angle here. Ideally, wrist to wrist, fingertips are open. The goal is to make sure that I make contact with an outside rotation of my wrist, a chopping motion. This is going to give me more energy. I'm thinking of attacking the attack into the fight. That's going to make my defense stronger. Eventually, we're going to get to adding the simultaneous counterattack. So my both hands are going at the same time. One is defending, one is attacking. One of the Krav Maga principles, always defending and attacking whenever possible. So again, I start out with my hands up, feet are shoulder width apart. As he sends the attack, I'm going out to the attack to meet it, 90 degrees wrist to wrist. He starts moving the other side. He's gonna work all the degrees in the circle, coming over the top, underneath, to the side, trying to start out slow, and eventually he's picking up the pace. Boom, time. The goal is I defend, and I gotta come right back, recoil, so I'm ready for the next attack. My eyes need to stay center, not following the hands around. That way I don't get caught up with one defense when the other one comes the back way. Give me your money! Eesh, eesh, eesh. All right, guys, let's break this down. Gun from the front, I'm going to redirect the line of fire, shortest distance possible off my body. At the same time, I want to get in for control. I'm striking, punch of my life from here, go ahead and take the weapon. I break, I take, come out, tap, rack. Ideally, try to get a safer angle on my opponent. One more time. Redirect the line of fire. Hand stays inside my silhouette. I'm striking, dealing with a gunman, coming in for 2 hands for control, break, take, tap, rack, and then I'm out. Any questions? All right, guys, talking about hammer fists. Beautiful thing about hammer fists, we can use it in any direction. Same fist that I make, no air inside, solid as a rock. Instead of striking with these 2 knuckles, which we normally punch with in our straight punches and our hook punches and uppercuts, now I'm hitting with a meat part. So think of this as the head of the hammer. This is the handle of the hammer, hence hammer fist. So from this position, I can put a lot of power and pressure into my strikes. I'm combining all the energy and force on this small point. Be careful not to disperse the energy over your entire arm. All my power right here, driving through my body, my shoulder, my hips, driving for my legs, all my power and energy in the direction of the strike. We can do it from the side. Same idea. A threat comes to the side, I can send that same strike here. Ideally, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tuck my chin, lift the shoulder, lead with the elbow, especially if it's a close range, I can throw an elbow, but at this medium range, that hammer fist is perfect. Again, all my energy on that small point. We can do the strike going downward, same idea. Remember, the key is, guys, no matter where I'm striking, my body weight needs to go in that same direction, whether it's forward and down, straight down to the side, or even to the rear. A threat from behind at a medium range, boom, I look first, obviously, tuck that chin to protect my face, elbow comes up, boom, rotating, driving off that back foot. Again, always trying to get the hips and shoulders into any strike. Makes us more devastating and powerful, and that's how we finish the fight here in Krav Maga. break this down. Overhead stick attack. This is a little bit of an off angle. Redirect, trying to get in deep. Using that energy, control, attacking, break, take, boom, finish the fight. Again, one more time. Bending at the waist to get in, close to the hand to redirect. Use the energy, control and attack, break, take, finish the fight. Any questions? Okay guys, barrack from the rear. This time our arms are caught and there's no space. Okay guys, so now the threat is, obviously, he's breaking my rib cage, taking the air away from me. Maybe he wants to dump me. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose the direction to send my hips. For now, I'm gonna send my hip to the left. That's gonna make room for my right hand to slide past my hip and line that strike up with the groin. Now, I don't wanna hit with the pinky side. I wanna rotate, palm up. That increases my chance of hitting the groin. All that's gonna do is hopefully get his hips to go back. That's what I want. So from that position here, I create that space, the hips start to go back. I continue to open up with my elbow strikes until I can turn and attack other vulnerable targets. So one more time. Hip to the side, striking the groin as many times as necessary to open up. Notice I'm moving out to the side, keeping control of that hand. When I get the turn, right away, boom. Finishing, attacking vulnerable targets until I can get away safely. So that's barrack from the rear, arms caught, no space. All right guys, choke from behind now with a push. Now my head's going into something strong, a plate glass window, car. My hands are naturally gonna go out to counteract my balance, to protect my face. From here, whatever side I decide to go with, bicep to the ear, trapping that hand. Full rotation, hips and shoulders up. That clears the attack. Now my elbows come down, attack, 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 finish the fight. Get away safe. One more time. Just drive me forward. Boom, I'm stepping, my hands do come forward naturally, trapping the hand, rotating, looking up towards my armpit, rotating, clearing those hands. Attack, 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 and get out. We've got low punches in attack, where I'm initiating with my attack going low to the body, or low punches in defense, where I'm maybe slipping a punch, moving offline, and attacking low as I evade another attack that's coming my way. So low punches in attack, the idea is that my energy is going straight down. Right now I'm aiming for the midsection. So whether I go with a straight left on the way down, or I go with a straight right on the way down, I want to maintain that I'm protected, because ideally, if I send my punch low, he can now pick me off from here because I'm exposed. So I want to make sure my chin drops, shoulder, everything, all the same body mechanics we throw with our punch, protecting ourselves as we go down, driving with our weight. Doesn't matter which side I do. I'm dropping in, staying protected. So if he punches me from the top here now, he's only got the top of my head, my skull, the stronger parts of my body to protect me. Now in defense, maybe he throws a right straight. I could slip, move offline, attack that same body. The difference is, instead of going straight in, I'm slipping to the outside with my body. I'm still maintaining my frame, my base. I'm staying within that base, but I'm leading with my shoulder, tucking my chin, boom, going offline, striking the body. Same thing against the left. I'm bailing to the outside again, staying between my legs as I drop out of the way. And notice the timing. As he commits, boom, he runs right into my low punch. Now, I'm not saying this is the best attack to initiate, but it's one tool to have in our toolbox. A lot of times I may set it up with a high punch and then I come low, because a lot of times people are exposed and vulnerable there. Yep. All right guys, so in the low punches, a couple of vulnerable areas. We got solar plexus, we've got the midsection, the gut area, and the liver shot. So definitely in defense, if I'm slipping offline, boom, that liver shot is right available to me. So it's a great vulnerable area to attack. Same thing with the midsection or the solar plexus. Okay, not quite as low, but definitely a vulnerable target to strike. All right guys, choke from the front, two-handed pluck. Krav Maga defenses against chokes are all based off of instinctive reaction. Without training, he's trying to choke my air away. My reaction is to try to pull these hands off. But slow, constant pressure is never gonna win against someone stronger than you. So we take that same movement, that same instinctive reaction, and we use speed, explosiveness against the thumbs, which are what's creating the choke, which is also the weakest part of his attack. Hooks with my hands, I'm diving in deep to the thumbs. 90 degrees is the principle, pluck against those thumbs. speed is number one. So from my hands at rest, bam, as fast as I can get those plucks going, the easier the defense is gonna be. No matter how hard he goes, thumbs are the weakest part of his hold. Speed, boom, is the equalizer. That's why someone smaller can defend against someone much stronger than them, as long as their energy is placed in that choke. Krav Maga defenses, we always exploit vulnerable targets, and we always use defense and attack at the same time whenever possible. From here, pluck and strike to the groin. I have some semblance of control. I'm in my fight stance. From here, I can start attacking with elbows, clinching for knees, attack, attack, finishing the fight. All right, so once again, the weakest part of his hold is the thumbs. Krav Maga principle in this situation is 90-degree defense. From here, that means 90 degrees is going diagonally back against the thumbs. I'm making hooks with my hands. Strongest part of my hook is near the palm heel. Weakest part of my hook is right by the fingertips. That's why I start going deep, nice and deep with my heel, my hooks. I'm plucking diagonally back 90 degrees. Notice my elbows go back, engaging my back muscles. My chest goes forward for full range of motion. Together, I'm using speed, boom, making that exercise. All right, all my energy, all that explosive speed on the weakest part of his hold, which is the thumbs. All right, guys, inside defense against low punch to the midsection. Gabe's gonna start off with his right cross going low. I'm gonna use the bottom part of my defense to create that redirection. The more he comes in, the more I go in, the further his punch and energy goes away from my body. So again, I'm leading with the elbow in this situation because the punch is going low, keeping my hand up to cover for other attacks. The further I go in, the further he goes in, the further the punch goes away from me. Again, I invite the punch, giving him that opening, redirecting, making a slight head and body defense, supporting my defense, defending with the lower part of my arm. So now we're taking it to the next level. He's gonna throw one punch at a time. It could be either a 360 style or outside attack, straight punch low or straight punch high. The key is that I'm maintaining that inside defense position where I'm framing the outside edges of my partner's shoulders or my opponent's shoulders. From here, it's very quick adjustment for any outside attack, and I sucker them in for that inside defense, making it much simpler for me. Time. The idea again is I'm looking center mass so I can see how his body's adjusting when his hands open up for outside attacks, when his hands come down the middle for the straight attacks. Hands are in this position, redirecting or stopping 90 degrees, wrist to wrist. And time.